Well, folks, we have 19 days left to Election Day on November the 8th. I want to talk a little bit about showboating. And showboating is really a term that means people that like to show off. They seek the limelight, the spotlight. We've seen that all over the country with many of these trunk backed politicians. If you turn on a camera, they want to jump in front of it. Trump did that when there was a overseas meeting of leaders of the world. He had to push leaders aside so he could be the first one in front of the camera. Now, to me, that's showboating. They don't care about us. All they care about is the lights, the camera. Who's looking at me now? You know, we put up with that for 4 years under the previous president, who, when it came to the COVID pandemic, didn't even tell us it was going on. It was his health department that let that cat out of the bag. And his answer to us was drink bleach. Kind of reminds me of Marie Antoinette when she said, let him eat cake. He says, let him drink bleach. Just not a whole lot of difference there. It falls down to the point they didn't give a shit about us. So, if you haven't voted yet, please be very wary of the showboat politicians. For example, in Florida, Ron DeSantis arrested some felons who voted in the election. Now, recently they relaxed the rules. They allowed people who'd been in prison to vote where they couldn't vote before. So, here's Joe Blow, ex inmate, gets his voter ID registration in the mail, goes, wow, I get to vote. Now, this is in Florida, mind you. Nowhere in that notice of his voter's registration did it say it didn't apply to him because of the crime he committed. He just got a voter's registration so he wouldn't vote. And what does Governor DeSantis do? He makes a big showboat deal out of it. Lights, camera, let's arrest him. Now, you can't tell me that Governor DeSantis didn't know those guys were going to vote. It's like they were set up. They were set up to put the spotlight on DeSantis, like, look what I'm doing. I'm taking care of you. No, he's not. He's taking care of himself. He wants the spotlight on him. He don't care about that inmate or the everyday citizen. If he did, he wouldn't pull this nonsense. He'd keep his eye focused on the after effects of Hurricane Ian. That's a whole nother story. But I mean, you see it all over the country. These showboating candidates, and they're all backed by Trump. You know, it's like this first time in my life I ever lived under a presidency where there's actually a dual presidency going on. Numbnuts, the one that lost, just will not give up the spotlight. So he keeps stirring up things and filing lawsuits and holding on to secret documents and constantly creating a big brouhaha. So the spotlight is always on him. You really think Trump gave a shit about any of us? No. His answer was drink bleach. I mean, seriously, folks. So, if you're thinking about voting for a Trump backed candidate or one of these crazies who cannot seem to get away from the camera or want to overturn the election, run away from them as fast as possible. And certainly don't vote for 'em. Vote for the other person. You can say what you want. Everybody's complaining about Joe Biden. What was Joe Biden's first comment after being reelected? He said, I fought for the soul of America. And that's what we're doing right now. Now it's us. We're fighting for the soul of America because there's so many of these Trump idiots trying to jump in front of the cameras. Lights, action, let's get ready to go. But it's all about them. You know what I love about Wisconsin, Tim Ryan, the Senate candidate there? The guy is so down to earth. And he clearly, I've been reading and watching stuff about him. The guy's wonderful. That's the kind of person we need in the Senate. I hope the Wisconsinites vote him in because he's for the people. He's not a showboater. I saw a picture of him sitting on a bale of hay in rural Wisconsin. Hey, works for me. So, in this election, avoid all these idiots that are going for the glitz, the glamour, and trying to get all the focus on themselves. Which, by the way, speaking of Florida, Val Demings, who's running for Senate there, Florida needs Val Demings. She is so heavy into law enforcement and protection of the people in Florida. You need Val Demings. She's not a showboater. She's not looking for the camera. She's looking to help people, and her 30 years in law enforcement proves that, aside from her years as a congresswoman. I just wanted to say this about showboating because it's important. There's not that many days left. And if you haven't voted, stay away from these idiots. I don't want to go through any more of the insanity that we went through before. Let's get some real people back into office, whether it's at the local level or the national level. And, to be frank, if you really want to help this country, vote blue in November. Thank you.